I'm the host now.
All right. Cool. All right. Last chapter, 9-figure mindset. It's a good one. Tied in very nicely with what we're doing today. I liked it. How you doing, Scotty?
Doing well. Nice short week.
Is it? Or do you just find yourself doing 5 days worth of work in 4 days?
A little bit of that too.
All right. Yeah, we're on. We're on.
If that's on, I don't have to record anymore.
Yeah, you do not have to.
Yes.
You may choose to.
I thought mine was better, but then when I looked down, I thought mine's not better.
Oh, it's just different.
It's different, yeah.
All right. Create for tomorrow, but live for today. Let's see. I'm gonna let Aaron kick this one off. He's very philosophical today.
Yeah, I mean the line that I pulled out of it, I listened to it on the way up, was life is a journey, not a destination. And that's something that I realized probably, I don't know, it took me that I realized it like 2 years ago. Um and and so and then he right after that line he talks about, having the 10-year plan but living for today as well. And so for me personally, I bought into that mentally a while back, and Brandon reinforces it with this chapter, and it just gives me confirmation bias that I'm like, all right, I'm thinking along the right lines. I have targets. And what's cool is we do our PPF targets. We did them the other day, which is always cool to check in with everyone on. But I have a plan layout for what I see happening, and having that goal makes it. All right, I'll put it this way: like, you're say you go to the gym, you haven't worked out in a long time, and you start going to the gym, and I've run into this before, and I expect, you go for a week, and you're like, oh, and then you look in the mirror, and you're like, nothing changed yet, and you can get easily down on yourself, but that's an unreasonable expectation from the get-go. So like, if you can adjust that mindset and know, like, this is a process, and I just have to keep showing up, and I'll get there. But live in that moment, and just make sure you show up, or go, or do the thing that's in your short-term plan that aligns with your long-term plan. That is super important. And what's cool, we're getting into atomic habits, which will be really helpful with some of these things that we don't want to do necessarily, because there's ways to make it, I think, what does he say, make it fun or make it easy. And like, that's super important for me. When I go run or walk after work or on the weekends, I pair it up with some podcast I want to listen to, or a book I'm listening to, and it makes that whole mundane route, because it gets fun at first, then it gets a little old, but it makes it something that I'm like looking forward to, because I want to hear what this person has to say. And so you can pair these things up. And I think, like, just being realistic with yourself, and having big targets and setting an incremental plan to get there is a reasonable way to approach it. So I like that line of what he said about the 10-year plan. And yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I think he talks about being, doing, having, right? And most of us think that having is what's going to make you happy, right? So he talks about, you always have this lack of fulfillment, because it doesn't matter how much you get, you're going to want something different, right? And so you're stuck in this perpetual unhappy state, where if you're just being happy, then you're doing the things that happy people do, and then you will have the things that happy people have, right? And it's hard to break some of those habits of, when I get here, then I'll be happy. Or, oh, if I could just get to this, then I'll feel like relieved, right? Like I got to get to this and then I'll be happy, instead of just being happy where you're at and understanding that, yeah, you got goals and there's other things out there, but there's nothing wrong with where you are today. And, focusing on positive things will bring more positive things into your life. It's just a fact. So I think that for me, that's the biggest focus of this chapter for me, is to learn the being, doing, having, instead of the having, being, and doing, right?
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's definitely hard. I mean, I feel like, in that having, being, doing flow, like you get stuck in that rat race of life, and like you said, it's hard to break those habits. But if you can change your mindset and just sit back for a second and look at what you already have and realize how far you've come and appreciate it and be happy with that.
Sorry, I don't understand.
And then Siri's talking to me, sorry. Be happy with that and enjoy it, because you have done so much. But also then, as he's saying, like, focus to the future as well with your goals and your short term, medium term, long term, and allow that to progress you further, and you're able to stay in that happy state, and then you do it, and then you'll have all of those things down the road too. So it's just changing that mindset that it's hard to do, but if you can do it, it can be so much more beneficial.
Yeah, really, the key is, what are you focused on?
Yeah.
And I've been running up against this for a while now. I'm constantly, I want to say, running, and it's not the running to something, which is a positive trajectory, right? Is to work and run to something because you're excited to get there. And that's the whole goal, is to be excited when you wake up to find out what happens next. Like, oh, where are we going today? Who am I? Oh, I'm going to go talk to this guy today. Like, that's where that, like, life change happens, right? Instead of running from, or just trying to get through the day because, like, oh, I got this bill coming up, I got to find, it's all about, like, thinking about the things that are holding you back, and you're running, but you're running to try to get away from something rather than going to something. And there's a real mental shift to have there, and I'll say I'm definitely, I'm not all the way through that yet, but it makes sense. And, Brandon talks about it too, like the entrepreneur who, they start to feel swallowed up, right? Like, man, it gets harder and harder to get out of bed, because you're just like, man, what am I going to hit today? Like, who's coming at me today, right? And you live with this kind of sense of dread rather than a sense of joy. And so there's a lot going on there, right? Because we all know that positive thinking is going to take you where you want to go, and you get what you focus on. So if you're focusing on problems, you're going to get more problems, right? And if you're not excited about where you're going, the only reason you're moving is to try to get away from what's in the rear view mirror, then you're going to struggle. So That was the big standout for me. What about you, kid?
Well, I mean, that was the being, doing, having was the big message of the chapter. I had to do a double take at 7 minutes in because around 1 minute he goes into that people live having, doing, being mindset, and you're supposed to be being, doing, having. He starts out at like minute 1 of the chapter. The paragraph that he has at minute 7 of the chapter starts out almost exactly the same as that minute 1 paragraph. But no, it's the whole, this chapter is the crux of beyond positive thinking. It's about having your mindset straight, having your goals in mind so that way you can achieve what you want to achieve, and also making sure that you're appreciating what you have now as opposed to having that want.
Yeah, constantly like, oh, there's a hole in my life, I gotta fill it. Right. And then, oh, there's another hole, gotta fill that hole. Live your life running through Swiss cheese. So
Yeah.
Filling potholes.
yeah. Filling holes and digging holes. Right. That's what we do. We fill holes and then we dig holes, or we dig holes and we fill holes. Depends on what day we're in. Awesome. Well, I'm excited about Atomic Habits. So anybody want to add anything before we roll it up for the day? No, we're good. All right, guys, I appreciate you. So we'll tackle chapter 1 of Atomic Habits for next week, and look forward to seeing you guys.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Scotty.